The shuttle's interior was cramped but secure, the cloaking technology muffling the sound of patrol drones as they passed overhead. Tarek monitored their flight pattern on the shuttle's sensors while Nalyra sat in the co-pilot's seat, Celine cradled in her arms. The infant's condition had stabilized somewhat after receiving the synthesized nutrients, but Tarek knew they needed more specialized equipment to ensure her full recovery. "They're making another sweep," he murmured, watching the display. "Standard search pattern. They haven't detected us yet, but they're being thorough." Nalyra's luminescent patterns pulsed with anxiety, casting subtle blue light across the cabin. "How long will they search?" "Hard to say. Could be hours. Could be days." Tarek ran a hand through his short hair, a gesture of frustration that Nalyra was beginning to recognize. "The shuttle's cloaking will hold, but we're limited on power. Eventually, we'll need to move." "Move where?" Nalyra asked. "The colony is destroyed. There is nothing left." Tarek hesitated, then pulled up a map on the shuttle's main screen. Before the war, there was a research outpost near the northern ridge. Joint project between humans and Asterians, studying Viridia's unique crystalline formations. Nalyra's primary eyes widened in recognition. "The Harmony Institute. I know of it. My mate, Jorel. He collaborated with researchers there before." Her voice trailed off. "I'm sorry," Tarek said quietly. A moment of silence passed between them, filled only by Celine's soft breathing. "The facility might still have operational medical equipment," Tarek continued. "More importantly, it was designed to be self-sufficient, with hydroponics and dedicated power systems. If it survived the initial bombardment, it could have what we need to properly treat Celine." "It is far," Nalyra observed, studying the map. "Nearly 3 days' journey on foot through exposed terrain." "We won't be on foot." Tarek gestured to the shuttle controls. "We can fly most of the way. Land about 10 kilometers out and approach on foot to avoid detection." Nalyra considered this, absently stroking Celine's head with delicate fingers. The past day had been a whirlwind of impossible choices and unlikely alliances. Trusting this human, Tarek, went against everything her people had come to believe about his species during the war. Yet here she was, sitting beside him, planning their next move together. "When the drones move on," she finally agreed, "we will try for the Institute." Tarek nodded, relief evident in his expression. He turned back to the sensor display, watching the patrol drones complete their sweep of the immediate area before moving westward. "They're leaving," he reported. "We should wait another hour to be safe, then depart." As they waited, an awkward silence settled over the cabin. Tarek busied himself with preparing another batch of nutrients for Celine, while Nalyra observed him with quiet curiosity. "Your medical knowledge," she said eventually. "It was meant for humans, yet you adapt it for my daughter." "How?" Tarek glanced up from his work. "Medicine isn't just about memorizing treatments. It's about understanding systems, recognizing patterns." He paused, considering how to explain. "All life has certain fundamental needs. The differences are in the details, not the principles. Our peoples have been at war for years," Nalyra pressed. "You were never taught to treat us." A shadow crossed Tarek's face. "We were taught enough to keep prisoners alive for questioning. Not to heal. Not properly." He adjusted a setting on the synthesizer. "But I've always believed medicine should transcend politics. That's not a popular opinion in the military." Nalyra studied him, her secondary eyelids flickering thoughtfully. "You are strange for a human." Tarek gave a short, humorless laugh. "I've been told that before." It was not meant as criticism. Their eyes met, and something unspoken passed between them, a moment of understanding that neither had expected to find in the other. The moment was broken by the synthesizer's chime. Tarek carefully transferred the completed nutrient solution to a feeding device suitable for Celine's size. "Here," he offered. "This batch should be more refined than the last." Nalyra accepted it with a grateful nod, administering it to Celine with practiced ease. As the infant fed, her skin began to show hints of its natural luminescence, a promising sign. "She improves," Nalyra whispered, hope coloring her voice for the first time since Tarek had met her. "She's strong," Tarek observed. "Like her mother." The compliment seemed to surprise Nalyra, who looked away quickly. After confirming that the patrol drones had moved beyond sensor range, Tarek powered up the shuttle's essential systems. "Ready?" Nalyra secured Celine in a makeshift harness fashioned from medical supplies. "Yes." The shuttle rose silently into Viridia's atmosphere, staying low to avoid detection. Tarek piloted with precision, following natural valleys and ridgelines to mask their approach. The landscape below told the story of the war, Fertile valleys now scarred by artillery, crystalline forests shattered into fragments that glittered mournfully in the midday sun. Neither spoke much during the journey, each lost in their own thoughts. As day faded into evening, the twin moons of Viridia rose, casting silver light across the terrain. "We should land soon," Tarek advised. "Night flying is riskier." He found a sheltered depression between two crystalline outcroppings and set the shuttle down gently. The location offered natural camouflage and protection from the winds that swept across Viridia's plains. "We'll rest here for the night," he said, powering down all non-essential systems. "Continue at first light." As Nalaira prepared a sleeping space for Celine, Tarek retrieved ration packs from the shuttle stores. He offered one to Nalaira, who accepted it hesitantly. "It's safe for your physiology," he assured her. "Basic proteins and carbohydrates. Not delicious, but nutritious." They ate in silence, the confined space of the shuttle making them acutely aware of each other's presence. Tarek found himself noticing details about Nalaira he had overlooked before, the graceful symmetry of her features, the subtle variations in her skin's luminescence that seemed to reflect her thoughts, the intelligent assessment in her multifaceted eyes. "You said you had a mate," he ventured, immediately regretting the personal nature of the question when he saw her expression darken. "Jorel," she confirmed softly. "He died defending our home during the first attack." "I'm sorry," Tarek said again, feeling the inadequacy of the words. Nalaira touched the crescent-shaped medallion at her throat. "He was a guardian, a protector by nature. He would have done anything to save Celine." Her eyes found Tarek's. "As I am doing now." The implication was clear. Her cooperation with him was born of necessity, not choice. Yet Tarek sensed something else beneath her words, a tentative reevaluation of what she had believed about humans. "And you?" she asked unexpectedly. "Do you have a mate? Children?" Tarek shook his head. "No. Medical Corps doesn't leave much room for family." He hesitated, then added, "There was someone, once. Before the war. She was stationed on a different vessel when hostilities broke out. We lost contact. Later learned her ship was destroyed in the Cerulean engagement." "The war has taken from us both," Nalaira observed quietly. "Yes," Tarek agreed. "It has a way of doing that." As night deepened, they established a watch rotation. Tarek took the first shift, monitoring the shuttle's sensors while Nalaira rested with Celine. He found his gaze drawn repeatedly to the sleeping forms of mother and child, struck by the strange turn his life had taken. A week ago, he had been treating human soldiers on Meridian Station, following orders, ignoring the hollow feeling that had grown inside him with each passing year of the conflict. Now he was a deserter, risking his life to help those he had once called enemies. Strangely, he felt more at peace with this choice than anything he had done in years. When it came time to switch, he gently woke Nalaira, careful not to disturb Celine. "All quiet," he reported. "No sign of patrols." Nalaira nodded, taking his place at the sensor display while he settled onto the narrow bench that served as a makeshift bed. As exhaustion overtook him, Tarek's last conscious thought was that tomorrow would bring them closer to the Institute, and to whatever future awaited them all. The Harmony Institute rose from the northern ridge like a monument to what might have been. Unlike the shattered ruins of the colony, the research facility remained largely intact, a testament to its remote location and the sturdy, integrated design that had blended human pragmatism with Astrian aesthetic principles. Tarek and Nalaira stood at the edge of a crystalline forest, observing the facility through binoculars. Celine slept peacefully in her makeshift carrier, her condition stable but still precarious. 3 days of travel had brought them here, 3 days of shared meals, exchanged stories, and gradually dissolving barriers. "No signs of occupation," Tarek noted, lowering the binoculars. "Power systems appear functional, at least partially." Nalaira nodded, her gaze fixed on the facility. "Before the war, this place symbolized cooperation between our peoples." Jorel spoke of humans he met here, scientists who shared his passion for understanding Viridia's mysteries. "Not all contact between our species was hostile," Tarek said quietly. "Just the loudest parts." They approached cautiously, alert for any signs of danger. The main entrance was secured by a biometric scanner designed to recognize both human and Astrian physiological signatures, another reflection of the Institute's collaborative foundation. Nalaira placed her palm against the scanner, her skin's natural luminescence pulsing briefly in response. After a moment's hesitation, the system engaged, lights flickering to life as dormant systems reactivated. "Welcome back, researcher," an automated voice greeted in both Standard and Astrian. "Facilities operating at 62% capacity. Caution advised in sectors 7 through 9 due to structural damage." They entered a vast atrium where crystalline growths had been cultivated into architectural features, catching and refracting light in complex patterns across the walls. Despite a layer of dust and signs of hasty evacuation, the space retained a serene beauty. "The medical lab should be on the lower level," Tarek suggested, consulting the facility map that had appeared on a nearby terminal. They found the lab untouched, its equipment covered by protective sheets. Tarek moved quickly, uncovering and activating the systems he needed: advanced medical scanners, tissue synthesizers, and nutrient processors far more sophisticated than his portable equipment. "This will take some time," he explained as he prepared a scanning bed-sized for Astrian physiology. "But with these resources, I can create exactly what Celine needs." Nalira placed her daughter on the scanning bed, her hands lingering protectively. Over the past days, she had watched Tarek work tirelessly to keep Celine alive, improvising solutions with limited supplies, never complaining despite his own exhaustion. His gentle manner with her daughter had gradually worn away at the protective walls she had built around her heart. "I will explore the hydroponics section," she decided. Perhaps some plants survived. Fresh nutrients would benefit her recovery. Tarek nodded, already absorbed in calibrating the equipment. "Be careful. The structural warnings mentioned damage in that sector." Nalira paused at the door, watching him work over her daughter with focused intensity. "Tarek," she said softly. "Thank you." He looked up, surprised by the genuine warmth in her voice. "She's not safe yet, but she is alive because of you," Nalira responded. "When I sent that message into the void, I never expected this." Her gesture encompassed not just the facility, but the unexpected alliance they had formed. Something passed between them in that moment, an acknowledgement of how far they had traveled, both literally and figuratively, from their first tense meeting among the ruins. While Nalira explored the facility, Tarek immersed himself in treating Celine. The advanced equipment allowed him to synthesize nutrients perfectly matched to her unique biochemistry. As he worked, he found himself talking softly to the infant, explaining procedures she couldn't possibly understand. Her iridescent eyes tracked his movements, and occasionally her tiny hands would reach toward his face, curious about this strange being so different from her mother. Hours passed in focused work, interrupted only when Nalira returned with several preserved plant specimens from the hydroponics lab. "These contain compounds similar to what I would normally consume to produce nectar," she explained, placing them beside his workstation. "Perhaps they can be incorporated into her treatment." Tarek analyzed the plants, finding several useful compounds that could indeed enhance the nutritional formula he was developing. Together, they worked to refine the solution, their hands occasionally brushing as they adjusted equipment or passed tools back and forth. Neither acknowledged these moments of contact, but each was acutely aware of them. By evening, Celine's condition had improved dramatically. Her natural luminescence had returned to near normal levels, and she had begun making the chirping sounds that Nalira explained were signs of contentment in Astrian infants. "She recognizes you now," Nalira observed as Tarek administered another dose of the refined nutrients. "See how her patterns brighten when you approach? It is a response reserved for those she considers safe." Tarek felt an unexpected warmth at this revelation. "She's remarkable," he said, gently stroking Celine's head. "Resilient. She'll make a full recovery, given time and continued treatment." They had established temporary living quarters in what had once been researchers' accommodations, taking adjacent rooms near the medical lab. That night, after ensuring Celine was comfortable, they shared a meal composed of preserved supplies found in the Institute's stores. "What happens now?" Nalira asked, breaking the comfortable silence that had settled between them. "When Celine is fully recovered?" The question hung heavily in the air. Neither had spoken of the future, focusing instead on the immediate goal of saving Celine's life. But that future now loomed before them, unavoidable. "I can't go back," Tarek admitted. "Desertion during wartime carries severe penalties. And you?" He hesitated. "Viridia is no longer safe for Asterians." "So we are both without homes," Nalira concluded softly. "There are options," Tarek suggested after a moment. "The neutral territories. Several colonies have been established where species coexist without interference from the major powers. Endera, Lyra Station. Places where Selene could grow up without the shadow of war. Nalaira's expression grew thoughtful. You speak as if we would go together. Tarek hadn't realized until that moment that he had indeed been thinking in terms of we rather than you and I. The realization startled him. I just meant, he began, but was interrupted by the facility's security system. Proximity alert, the automated voice announced. Multiple vessels approaching. Identified as human military. ETA 15 minutes. They froze, eyes locked in mutual understanding of what this meant. Someone had tracked them, either by following the shuttle's trail or by monitoring activity at the Institute. How did they find us? Nalaira whispered, fear evident in her rapidly fluctuating luminescence. It doesn't matter, Tarek said grimly, already moving toward the security terminal. What matters is what we do now. He accessed the external cameras, confirming what the system had reported. 3 military shuttles approaching from the south, their configuration indicating they carried ground troops rather than being simple patrol craft. We need to move, he decided. Our shuttle is hidden, but they'll conduct a thorough search of the facility. We can't be here when they arrive. Nalaira gathered Selene and the supplies they would need for her continued treatment, while Tarek downloaded critical medical data onto portable devices. Years of military service had taught him efficiency in crisis, but he found himself unusually anxious, not for himself, but for Nalaira and Selene. They were almost to the rear exit when the security system announced that the first shuttle had landed outside the main entrance. Too late, Tarek muttered, quickly assessing their options. This way. He led them to a service corridor that connected to the geothermal power plant that supplied the facility's energy. The area was uncomfortably warm and filled with the hum of machinery, but it offered an alternative route to where they had concealed their shuttle. They moved quietly through the labyrinthine passages, Selene mercifully silent as if sensing the danger. Tarek could hear distant voices echoing through the facility, standard search protocols being implemented. They would start at the main entrance and work methodically outward. Almost there, he whispered as they reached a maintenance hatch that would lead them outside near the crystalline forest. Just as he began to open it, footsteps sounded behind them. They turned to find 2 armed soldiers, weapons raised. Freeze, one ordered. Hands where I can see them. Tarek slowly raised his hands, positioning himself slightly in front of Nalaira and Selene. He recognized the insignia on their uniforms, Admiral Vega's special security detail. Lieutenant Tarek Marston, the second soldier, identified him. You are under arrest for desertion, theft of military property, and violation of non-interference protocols. Just let them go, Tarek said evenly. This is between me and Meridian Command. They've done nothing wrong. All alien survivors are to be processed according to protocol. The first soldier responded mechanically. Step aside. No. Tarek's refusal was quiet but firm. The soldiers exchanged glances, clearly not expecting resistance from a medical officer. Lieutenant, don't make this worse for yourself. The alien and its offspring will be treated according to regulations. Tarek had seen how those regulations were implemented. Processing meant indefinite detention, separation, medical experimentation disguised as examination. He couldn't allow that to happen to Nalaira and Selene. I said no. His stance shifted subtly, preparing for the confrontation he knew was inevitable. Before either soldier could respond, a blur of movement caught them by surprise. Nalaira had placed Selene gently on the ground behind a pipe and launched herself forward with shocking speed. Asterians were generally considered a peaceful species, but in that moment, Tarek witnessed the ferocity of a mother protecting her child. Her ceremonial dagger flashed, not to kill but to disable, precise strikes that sent weapons clattering to the floor. Tarek recovered from his surprise quickly enough to subdue one soldier, while Nalaira handled the other. We need to move, she urged, retrieving Selene. There will be others. They secured the unconscious soldiers and continued their escape, reaching the maintenance hatch without further incident. Outside, the crystalline forest provided cover as they made their way to where the shuttle was hidden. They'll pursue us, Tarek warned as they boarded. Meridian has faster ships, better tracking systems. Then we don't go to Meridian, Nalaira said decisively. You mentioned the neutral territories. How far is Lyra Station? Tarek calculated quickly. 3 days at maximum sustainable speed. We'd be cutting it close on fuel. Can we make it? He met her gaze, reading the determination there. Yes. As Tarek prepared for launch, Nalyra secured Selene and the medical supplies they had salvaged. The shuttle rose silently into Viridia's evening sky, accelerating away from the planet that had been both battlefield and birthplace. Once they reached a safe distance, Tarek plotted a course for Lyra's station, carefully routing them through asteroid. This response paused because Claude reached its max length for a message. It continued to nudge Claude along. Continue. Claude can make mistakes. Please double-check responses.